You give me a recorder, baby. Once the president start coming,
when you go to the
you
audio,
no recorder.
so
that you want for now. Give me a recorder.
when you go to the audio, you have to find number.
Please give me a recorder. Recorders, please.
You go in now.
Jesus. You put it
Oh, it's not in the recorder.
What's that? What's that? You put it on?
The people who give me your phones, you already recorded, you will press record. You already recording. Website is recording?
Yeah.
Josh, please return your baby. What's ready here? It's not here.
I need this.
No. What is this? Ladies and gentlemen of the press, may we please have our seats? Yes. I'd like to welcome President Julius Aldo Nelson, President of the University of Liberia, Dr. William Israel Allen, Chair of the Historic Bicentennial Committee, Attorney Norris Swear, Chair of the University of Liberia International Founders Day Conference Planning Committee. We also acknowledge the presence of the President of the Alumni Association, Mr. Martin Penny, and a representative from the University of Liberia Student Union. Welcome. Today we have a wide range of representatives from different media institutions. We have newspaper, radio, and online TV present. At this time, I'm hoping that everyone is set. I've been giving a teaser so we all set. We'd like to notify you that we'll take statements, and after that, it will be question and answer. For now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasing honor to introduce and welcome to this podium the President of the University of Liberia, Professor Reverend Dr. Julius Aldo Nelson Jr.
Let me invite all of us in a moment of silence for colleagues at the university we lost in the crossing over from 2021 to 2022, lifting up Professor Alhaji B.D. Krumah, a scholar here at the university, but also because of the loss of lives of 29 persons in the borough of Nuclear Town, where I grew up. And I believe as citizens of the Republic, we ought to pay our respect, even today, and to do so in a moment of silence. We thank you for their journey of faith. We thank you for the opportunity we had to be with them in the midst of all that have happened. We pray that their soul will rest in perfect peace and light perpetual will shine on them. Amen. Professor William Ezra Allen, Professor of History and Chair of the History Subcommittee of the Bicentennial Celebration. Anthony Norris Tue, Co-Chair of the University of Liberia History Subcommittee, but Chair on the Founders Day International Conference. Madam Beneto Jokota, our Vice President for Administration here at the University of Liberia. Dr. Darren Wickens, our Vice President for Information Technology, our Chief Information Officer. The President, Acting President of our Alumni Association, Mr. Penny. Mr. Mohammed Kamara, the Speaker of the Interim Student Assembly here present and member of the subcommittee dealing with the international conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and members of the press. The University of Liberia will commemorate its founding 71 years ago by hosting a two-day international conference at the Ministerial Complex in Oles Comfort Town outside of Monrovia on February 15 and 16, 2022. The conference style, the University of Liberia Renaissance, is expected to bring together UL faculty, staff, students, along with Liberians from all walks of life, senior policymakers, government officials, as well as dignitaries and academics from abroad. Guests including a 27-member delegation from the University of Sierra Leone, led by its Vice Chancellor, Professor Fode Sarr, and other guests from the sub-region, led by the Economic Community of West African States, will be in attendance. The hybrid conference also forms part of the year-long activities of the 2022 National Bicentennial commemoration, scheduled to be officially launched on February 14, 2022, under the theme, The Year of the Return. The University of Liberia chairs the History Subcommittee of the 2022 National Bicentennial. Several presentations are expected to be made during the two-day conference, including a presentation entitled The D for Monrovia by Dr. Patrick Burrows. Dr. Burrows will discuss this historic document with an international panel of scholars and a global audience. The opening ceremony of the Founders' Day commemoration begins February 15, and on this day, several Liberian and international luminaries will take the stage to discuss the Liberian economy, including Honorable Samuel D. Twell, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, and Ms. Rosa Garatomo Rhodes, former Secretary, U.S. Department of the Treasury. The Founders' Day will certainly record memories of Liberia College, the precursor of the University of Liberia. Liberia College opens its doors to students in 1862 with an inaugural class of 10 students. 4 years later, in 1866, the new college held its inaugural commencement convocation, graduating a single student, Mr. James Henry Evans. However, the pace of graduation slowed significantly afterward due to administrative problems, including low enrollment and a lack of resources. For instance, the longest non-graduation period spent 29 years, beginning in 1874 and ending in 1902. In spite of these non-graduation, Liberia College had a memorable convocation, including graduating the first female student in 1905 and the largest class of 27 students in 1950. The challenges that confronted Liberia College and the demand for a new curriculum more responsive to the emerging needs of the nation at the time led to the formation of the University of Liberia on February 15, 1951. In that year, 1951, the 89-year-old Liberia College passed the baton, the task of delivering higher education to the University of Liberia. Now entrusted with the mandates and responsibility to educate men and women for the nation, the enrollment profile and graduation rate of the University of Liberia increased astronomically. Compared to the predecessor, Liberia College, the University of Liberia held annual graduation in the first 2 decades of its formation. Thus, according to the UN annual convocation programs, 39 consecutive graduations were held beginning in 1951 through 1990. In contrast, Liberia College held merely 9 graduations for its comparable 39-year period from 1866 to 1905. However, the University of Liberia unbroken run of graduation was disrupted in 1991 as a civil war that began in December 1989 spread devastatingly throughout Liberia. Consequently, no graduation ceremonies were held in 1991, 1992, 1993, and 2003. Graduation resumed regularly after the Civil War until the outbreak of the Ebola virus, which led to the cancellation of commencement in 2024. Like a precursor or predecessor, the University of Liberia is also famous and renowned for graduating memorable classes throughout the 71-year existence, including the most recent Bicentennial commencement convocation class of 2019, where the university graduated 3,673 students, the highest number of graduates in the history of higher education in Liberia. This achievement, including the immense contribution of the University of Liberia and has made towards Liberia's social and economic development, are the reason why the UL is celebrating its Founders Day in 2022. Therefore, the University of Liberia will look at its history, its challenges, and prospects within the context of the university renaissance during this 2-day international conference. One of the overarching goals of the conference is to position the University of Liberia as the nation's higher institution of learning to deliver on the promise of quality and affordable education for its ever-growing young population in the Republic of Liberia. The UL will also use the occasion to reinvent itself for prevailing challenges and the future of higher education in the Republic of Liberia, from Cape Mount to Cape Palmas, Manima to Mangidi, Grand Cru to Bapolu, River Cess to River G. Come and let us celebrate the lux in tenebris, the light in darkness. It is my privilege now to present to you Dr. William Ezra Allen, the chair of the History Subcommittee recommended by the University of Liberia, who will then come and share additional information on the Bicentennial commemoration in the context of the University Founders Day. Dr. Allen, let us receive it.
All right. Let me thank Dr. Nelson for the remarks, for his acknowledgement. Let me also ask the audience to please allow me to stand on the protocol that Dr. Nelson so efficiently introduced. So the question I want to address is it a coincidence that the university's Founders Day is being held on the bicentennial of the arrival of the free blacks here in Liberia? Is it a coincidence that that is happening? You might say it's a coincidence, but let me explain why it may not be a coincidence. The University of Liberia began as Liberia College, as Dr. Nelson mentioned in his remarks. that Liberia College has its basis in the arrival of the free blacks here, the free blacks that we are celebrating. It was through the initiative here, in conjunction with friends and humanitarians in the United States, that the idea for founding a college on the shores of West Africa began. For example, one of the primary groups that were involved in this initiation is the trustees for the donation of education in Liberia. That organization is still contributing to Liberia College or the University of Liberia after nearly a century. So it is not a coincidence that a group arrives here in 1822, and then in 1852, the Liberian government agrees with a proposal to establish Liberia College. And then in 1951, Liberia College becomes the University of Liberia. So it's also not a coincidence that when the Bicentennial National Committee was established, it was recognized that the University of Liberia, given its position as the beacon of hope, the nation's flagship, it should chair the history subcommittee. Not a coincidence. It's a recognition of the University of Liberia. So the University of Liberia, under the leadership of Dr. Nelson, has the history subcommittee. And that history subcommittee has been playing a leading role here in the Bicentennial. So as we prepare for this conference on the 15th and the 16th of February, I want us to reflect on what this conference is all about. The conference is about the rebirth of the University of Liberia, the Renaissance. Now, before you do rebirth, you must assess where you're coming from to see what you have accomplished, the missteps you made, and how you can correct those missteps. This is why this conference is important. This conference is looking at the University of Liberia. This new beginning we're talking about. Renaissance means rebirth, new beginning. This new beginning, what happened at the old beginning? How did the old beginning start? This 2 days conference, this virtual and in-person conference will try to address that. It is also not a coincidence that the economic discussion is taking place again at the University of Liberia. A key economic discussion, fiscal policy, taxation. The nation's economic policy is being discussed at the University of Liberia. It's not a coincidence, because the University of Liberia, as we know, is the light in darkness. The light emanates from here. It's from here it goes out. So we take that leadership and say we invite guests, international guests, renowned international guests, and specialists to discuss these issues. It is not also a coincidence that a deed that is now Monrovia, that belongs to what is now Monrovia, it began as the deed for Cape Montserrat. And that deed was discovered. And the University of Liberia is inviting the discoverer of that deed, Dr. C. Patrick Burroughs, to come here and discuss the deed with a panel of scholars. Not only scholars here in Liberia, but scholars abroad. About 4 or 5 of them will not come, they will do their participation from overseas. It's not a coincidence. So ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying is that the University of Liberia has been blessed by faith, by God. God continues to lead us, and it is through this leadership of God and those who God has assigned that we see the University of Liberia taking its rightful place. The conference is a critical component that it will help to guide us to the direction which the University of Liberia wants to take. The Bicentennial is a part of this commemoration, as I mentioned. So on behalf of the History Subcommittee, I want to express our gratitude to the National Bicentennial Committee The committee has been supportive at every level. All the recommendations that we made, they accepted those recommendations in principle. And they assure us that as the time becomes appropriate, they will have to implement some of the recommendations. And a good example is this national conference. So on behalf of the University of Liberia, on behalf of the History Subcommittee, I want to thank Dr. Nelson. And I also now want to invite Attorney Norris Twe, who is not only chairperson of the History Subcommittee, but he's also chairman of the Founders Day Planning Committee. Attorney Twe, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I am very pleased today to be part of this historic announcement. Dr. Nelson has read a statement. That statement will be communicated to you. We have printed copies of that statement so that you can use it in your reporting. What we're trying to do is to project the University of Liberia on a pedestal that it needs to be. This institution is historic. We are not just only celebrating its 71st anniversary, but we are celebrating its immense contribution to the social and economic development of our country, dating back to 1862, even before that, to 1851. So you can see the University of Liberia, and before that, Liberia College was right there as Liberia was being formed, as the nation was being birthed. So we have to celebrate our existence. Prior to the Civil War, people who attended this university always tease us, the post-war generation that came to the university, of how this institution was one of the best in West Africa, one of the best in Africa. We have students from the West African region, Nigerians, Ghanaians, flocked on to the campuses of the University of Liberia in an attempt to acquire knowledge. We have had our own fair share of challenges as a result of the war. But we want to celebrate those challenges. We want to celebrate some of the great achievements that we've made. I don't know in post-war Liberia we ever did celebrate our Founders Day. Maybe Dr. Nelson, Dr. Allen, who at Kennedy University in the 70s or the 80s can attest to that. But during my time and I don't think we celebrated. So this is the first time in a long time that we are celebrating our founding. And so it's a celebration for all of us, students, faculty, staff. We have one of the biggest alumni communities in the country, or in the Mana River region. And we have alumni members all over the world, a lot of them in the United States, who immensely contribute to the pride and dignity of this university. So the Founders Day is going to be celebrated 2 days, on the 15th and on the 16th. As you know, it will just be one day after we officially launch the National Bicentennial commemoration. So we are still going to be in the celebratory mood. So from the SKD Stadium, we'll be going to the Ministerial Complex to open our conference. And the President of the Republic of Liberia and visitor of the University of Liberia is the chief convener of this conference. So he will be there to open this conference. 2-day conference will be jam-packed with a lot of activities. We have a morning section after the President of the Republic and visitor opens it. Dr. Nelson, our president, with a small p, will certainly deliver a special statement, obviously welcoming our guests a lot of them coming from within, but notably, conspicuously, we are inviting others from outside. We have a 27-person delegation from National Sierra Leone. A few months ago, the University of Liberia led a high-profile delegation to Sierra Leone to consummate a memorandum of understanding with our two institutions. So Sierra Leone, University of Sierra Leone, University of Sierra Leone, unfortunately, is slightly older than the University of Liberia, and before that, Liberia College. So they're going to be coming with a high-profile delegation, and the president of the University of Liberia, Sierra Leone, is going to be making a presentation. The president of the University of Sierra Leone is Professor Foley Sarr, Vice Chancellor, Principal, University of Sierra Leone. So in that country, the president is called Vice Chancellor. Here is the president of the University of Liberia. So it's the same. So he will be here as well. He is a medical doctor and Surgeon General of the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces. So he's a very high profile and very respected citizen of that country. Also, we have invited to grace our two-day conference Ms. Rosa Guamatota Rios. She's the former U.S. Secretary. Rosa, as she is called, was the 43rd Treasurer of the United States and is most recently known for leading the efforts to place a portrait of a woman on the front of U.S. currency for the first time in over a century. She is going to come and attend this conference, the UN Renaissance, and she will deliver a presentation on the economy. And we have a panel. On that panel, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Samuel D. Jr., is going to be on that panel. So the way we have structured the conference, we have a morning section where all of the formalities will happen. One of the things that's going to happen on that day, in the morning section, is that we are going to launch a center for migration and diaspora studies here at the University of Liberia. And we are also inviting, as a result of that, an academic, a very famous African-American academic at Temple University in Philadelphia, University of Liberia, in Philadelphia. He will be coming as well to talk about the academic scholarship and the role diaspora members have played throughout the world, particularly from Africa. So this conference, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a bomb. We are also going to have, on the first day, Dr. C. Patrick Burrows. Many of you in this room in the last few weeks learned about who Patrick Burrows is. He's been around. He's a leading Liberian academic and historian. His most recent find will be discussed at the conference. He will make a presentation, and then there will be a panel comprising of historians and others. Dr. William Ezra Allen is going to be one of the panelists. So we'll talk about this deed. Most talk about deed. All of the assumptions we made about this deed, will be discussed. All of the clarifications will be provided as well. So basically, that is what we intend to do. And so today's announcement begins the formal publicity of this event. We are also having to attend this conference, very important before I get, members of the Trustees of Donation for Education in Liberia, TDEL. This is the group of philanthropists who in 1850, or slightly before 1850, as Dr. Ali eloquently stated, began soliciting money in the Boston area that led to the construction of the building that hosted Liberia College. They're going to be also participating in the conference as well. So this is what we are intending to do. This is what we are going to do. And the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Nelson, has said, going forward, we will always celebrate our Founders Day. We're starting with 2 days this year. Next year, the plan is to expand it to at least a week where we have parades, extravagant jamborees, carnivals, bring our students out, do matches, the things that people celebrate. This school needs to be celebrated. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the next few days, you'll be seeing us on the radio. We'll be coming to your little houses to talk about it. We want you to please talk about our Founders Day, our students, our faculty, our staff, the entire university community, our alumni. The president of Alumni Association, acting president of Alumni Association is here. We have a lot of them in the United States. There's a new president there. She's excited. Some of these people will be participating via online, via Zoom. So that's what we intend to do. And we will climax this event, this two-day conference, with a musical concert. Our UL chorus, under the dynamic leadership and directorship of Anthony Alor Prince Decker, is going to lead his UL chorus here outside in the park, and will render us different redemptions to celebrate. It will be an evening of coming together, wining, dining, joying, celebrating our Founders Day. So at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, we can go on and on and on, but let me pause now and invite back to this podium our hardworking director, media director, and Dr. Jenny Jala Colley, who will play a critical role throughout this process to moderate the question and answer period of this press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phoebe. We now have question and answers. We want to do this and save time. I know when the speakers were speaking, I did not stress time, and you might biasly say, why stress time with us? But I'm sure we agree that it's in both of us' interest, and I'm certain that we won't have more than 10 questions. So, are there any questions? I see my guesstimation was right. We have no question. We'll go back to the head table. Is there anything you'd like to expand on further?
Well, I was hoping, I'm encouraging the press to ask questions because you are going to represent us now. You take the message out there. So when the questions are being asked, we are hoping that you will leave from this room and you will have the answer to those questions. So please think hard and ask questions. If you don't have the question, then I want us to talk a little more, but we want you to represent us up there. You can only do it if you have the facts.
While you are considering some questions to think about, I wanted to also add the importance of the trustee of donation for education in Liberia. Since the 1800s, they are in continuous partnership with the University of Liberia. They are the one who manage the endowment fund of the university. We want to appreciate them and celebrate them during this period of our celebration for their continuous role in working with the university for many, many years. The issue of being attached to Liberia College is taken very, very seriously. Currently, they sponsor students in Liberia College. They pay for education of people in our library to go to graduate school. And in that relationship, we are thankful that the trustee for donation in education in Liberia is still working with the current management team of the University of Liberia in that partnership.
In fact, let me just dovetail on Dr. Nelson's point to show you how the connection between the trustees of donation education in Liberia and Liberia College and now the University of Liberia. They provide scholarships, they do some very good things. But there are some other small things that we ask them to do and they try to help us. Recently, I tried to find the age of the bell on campus. This bell we find, our historic bell. And I contacted one of the members of the board of trustees. for the Donation Education Bureau. He had visited here, I think in 2019. And so I asked him, he told me to send pictures, and I sent pictures. He just sent me an email there for yesterday and said he's doing some investigation in the Boston area to be able to determine the age of this bell, this historic bell. If we can determine, we can establish that age, it gives us even more confidence as we try to enshrine it and make it a historic site. Without age, we'll still do it. But I think if we receive that information from the trustee, it makes our effort even, it gives us more confidence to tell people say this bell used to be at Liberia College in the 1800s. That's what the trustees of the National Education is doing for us.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that, like Liberia College, the University of Liberia has had some very memorable classes. And during the course of this celebration, we want to, recall some of those classes. And some of you in this room, graduated from the University of Liberia, and I don't know whether you can remember your class, but there are a few classes that, people still remember, like the golden class, right? The Blue Jay. I don't know whether Dr. Nelson can remember his class, the most recent class, the Bicentennial class, and recently the 101, the Mina. So, Kwake, right? Yeah. So we're going to be also bringing these classes as well, so that students who were here at the time and graduated during those periods can recall, can talk about this, how this institution has played, and changed their lives. So it's a celebration time, and it will be part of our academic, calendar going forward. As you know, we are just about to have our commencement, at the end of February, within March. So this year is going to be extremely, extremely busy. But we are not losing sight of the commitment that Dr. Nelson made in his inaugural speech to brighten the lights. There have been some challenges. Last year was a very difficult year for this university. Many of you came on this campus, tried to get my response. I was not very comfortable talking to you guys when there is protests on this, but I'm glad that we're here. We're starting on a new footing. We hope that we will engage all of the stakeholders, our faculty, our staff, our students, so that we can eventually solve some of the problems of the institution. The problems of the institution, we're 71 years old. So our problem didn't just start last year or 2 years ago. It started way back. Even before we transitioned from Liberia College, you saw the history of the many years that Liberia College did not graduate students. There were challenges, administrative challenges, lack of funding, the same lack of funding we were talking about, happened during Liberia College time. So, we're going concerned, but we are confident that we can work together and celebrate this institution for what it is and what it means to this nation.
So I'm a.
No, you have a question now, right?
I'm at 6.
So I'm Webster Clay in the top of Congress Africa. So I just want to squeeze this. Sometime I'm live here. You disclose about the time capsule. How far, what is status is right now regarding the time capsule.
Okay. Yeah, the time capsule project is one of 14-point items that the University of Liberia recommended to the committee. The National Committee adopted the time capsule in principle. It's a very good idea. So right now we're doing an investigation to find out what it will cost, how it will be constructed. And once we get that information, we send it to the National Committee But it looks like the National Committee might support the preparation of a time capsule. Okay, let me once again express our gratitude to those who have graduated from this institution of higher learning, to the current academic administrative staff, our students, for a wonderful journey as the University of Liberia. We want to make sure that we express our gratitude to the government of Liberia for these 71 plus years as a university, from administration to administration, that have supported higher education, quality and affordable higher education in Liberia. We will not be who we are without the government of Liberia, because we are a state-run institution, and we think it is always necessary to express our gratitude to the government of Liberia for our continuous partnership in ensuring that the sons and daughters of the Republic of Liberia who are looking for human capacity development can find a year at the University of Liberia before they go into graduate and postgraduate school. And members of the press, thank you all so much for always responding to the invitation of the University of Liberia. We look forward in this 2022, the year of the return, as we celebrate the Bicentennial. There will be other events that we believe that the press, the Fourth Estate, the university, and the entire republic can work hand in hand as we try to become a new day for the Republic of Liberia, celebrating our culture, our tradition, tourism in Liberia, and investment in the Republic of Liberia as we go forward. Happy New Year to all of you we are seeing for the first time. We look forward to 2022 being a wonderful year for each of us, our family, and especially so to the Republic of Liberia. God bless you and have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. We ask you to please stay back. There is a package with the statement from Dr. Nelson and the profile of the international speakers that we will give around. We also like to have a very exclusive one-on-one conversation with you, and then we can call you a day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Please take your recorder.